So, week 3, Green Bay, first home game with the fans, should be electric, right?
Yes, indeed. Sunday night football.
Sunday night football, first primetime game, coming in with, Aaron Rodgers having a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. Obviously, this game last year was a dud because everybody on the team with the 49ers was in COVID protocol. So it was like third string versus Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay's first string. But we've seen in the past when, it's first string versus first string, the 49ers have dominated. So what are your expectations of the week 3 game?
I believe that the 49ers have the advantage here. I think that it was a good matchup for them coming into the season. I believe that it got a little bit worse through the injuries that we've suffered to this point. And I suspect that it will be a competitive game, even though my final prediction is not a super close one. I think that the pass rush eats. I think that we have a very deep defensive line. You have Aaron Rodgers standing behind a patchwork offensive line on that side of the ball. I've heard rumors that it could be the third string left tackle that goes for Green Bay on Sunday. And you have to think that Nick Bosa is going to destroy that man, that he is going to spend all evening just getting after it. Certainly the Packers will do what they can to scheme around that. You watch the 49ers in 2019 deal with a missing left tackle and do it spectacularly. But I don't have the same faith in the Packers coaching staff that I do in Kyle Shanahan and his offense. So I do expect the defense to be all over them early and all over them throughout the game. And I suspect that part of that will be anticipating some early runs on early downs by Aaron Jones and really coming up and challenging the Packers to come at them right away and shoot it deep. Hopefully we don't have a disaster in going against one of, if not the best wide receivers in the league. Davante Adams, shout out Palo Alto High School. He's a Vikings alumni, as am I. We've got a lot of proud alumni. Jeremy Lin is Palo Alto High School.
Yo, when did this turn into a Palo Alto All-Star?
Yeah, you got to get the alumni shout out.
Let's keep going.
So Davante Adams, I mean, I just can't see him not going off. I think regardless of what you do to him scheme-wise, like I said, he is one of the, if not the most talented wide receivers in the league. So I don't anticipate us being able to completely shut him down. I think statistically, fantasy football wise, Davante Adams is still going to get his. The biggest challenge in my mind is certainly going to be containing Rodgers towards the end of the game. We just have struggled to close out at this point. It seems that we have done well initially, but our 4-minute defense has been atrocious to this point. So I think that's the area that we struggle. But defensively, early on, I think we get after Rodgers and dirty up that uniform.
Yeah, I mean, the keys to the game that we've seen, at least the first 2 games, is whoever wins the trenches wins the game, right? And so when it comes to quarterback, clearly Green Bay has the better quarterback. When it comes to running back, I would have to say with the injuries and everything right now, they clearly have the better running back. When it comes to the most talented wide receiver, Debo versus Davante Adams, probably going Davante Adams, right? But the one thing that they don't have is as good of an offensive line, and they've had some injuries in their defensive line as well, as good of a defensive line. So I know you brought up the point that the 49ers have done well even if their left tackle went down. There's a difference between your second string left tackle and then a third string left tackle. That third string wasn't ever supposed to play left tackle. He was brought in as a guard, as maybe a swing tackle. But if he's in the left tackle position, your third string, whether it's Nick Bosa or if they put Dee Ford on that side or if they put Samson Ebukam on that side or if even Eric Armstead's on that side, that person is going to get tested and tested very, very often. And we've seen this offensive line get eaten up. We saw New Orleans do it. We saw even Detroit had some success with it. We've also seen a very porous defense with the Green Bay Packers. They obviously got blown out by New Orleans, which then pretty much laid an egg in their next week's game against Carolina, right? Couldn't even score. They looked like all world against Green Bay, couldn't even score against Carolina. So maybe that's a tell. And then even the Detroit Lions in that first half, they were moving the ball with ease. So I agree. I expect the 49ers to be able to have a lot of success with this team. I'm with you too, though. We have to see how they close it out, right? So closing the game is going to be what's most important, not only because Aaron Rodgers is there, but they made Jared Goff look like he was a king, you know what I mean, with the way he was making his comeback as well. So I think that's important, playing 4 full quarters.
Yeah, that's an interesting point for both teams against Detroit was in the first half. I mean, it seemed to me as if the Lions were hanging around. I thought for sure there was a chance they were going to be in that game until late, and then the wheels started to come off, and eventually the talent started to win out on the field. But also the 49ers struggled with that at the end of game. So both of those defensive struggles could come into play on Sunday. I certainly believe that this is the game the offense gets rolling. The key injury to the critical pass rusher for Green Bay is a big loss for them. They don't seem to be all that stout against the run. Sure, it's fair to wonder who's actually going to be running the ball for San Francisco, but I'm more excited to see Jimmy with some protection, with time to throw, being able to actually get some serious air yards going down. I expect Jimmy to have close to, if not more than 300 yards passing in this game. I expect George Kittle to have a monster game. I expect Brandon Ayuk to have a monster game. And part of that is scheming against Jair Alexander. You certainly still have some studs there for Green Bay. But again, when we're talking about scheme, we're talking about Sunday night football. I feel like Kyle saves a little something in his bag for these games. And if he was offended by this little thing that went down between he and LaFleur in talking to Aaron Rodgers, doing his due diligence, there seems to be some animosity, tense moments that went down there, tested the friendship. Kyle's the kind of guy that I can see holding a little bit of a grudge and being like, all right, I'm going to show you tonight. Like you didn't want to return my phone call? Cool. Here you go. I'm going to hang up 30 points on you. Right. So that's, to me, that's what I expect to see out of the 49ers offense. And I don't know that the Packers defense is going to be able to do much to combat it.
Right. I mean, this is the first test, right? This is the first team that's playoffs team from last year, expected to be a playoff team this year. This is kind of like the stick, and as far as like the grading stick to see where you really land. And it's kind of like a benefit that the Green Bay Packers are coming in kind of limping as well. So it might be one of those games where, you could really go off like you're saying, or it could be another close game that goes down to the last quarter, kind of like what we've seen in these last two games. But there is a point that you made